I'm not one of these guys who, loved the internet until I found out there was pornography on it. Now I am on the internet a lot. A lot. I would say out of the 22 hours that I am awake during the day, during any given day, I am on the internet about 11 hours. I don't sleep much. Anyway, you get the point.
Welcome to WYCD Wicked, that stands for What You Can Do. It's your old pal Jake, and I am excited to talk to you about my favorite subject today, which is the most awful people on Earth. Just the worst human beings humanity currently has available. Those are, of course, the Republicans, and I don't know about y'all, but I'm just sick of dealing with the same problems over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. These punks have proven themselves to be unworthy of anyone's allegiance, anyone's patience, anyone's grace. So many times over that it's just simply time to be done with them. To that end, we got a bunch of videos today to look at. Couple of different angles for approaching the same problem that I think will be illustrative, will be helpful, will peel off a few badly needed votes. But let us not miss the forest through the trees. There are, or rather, let's not miss the smaller trees in the forest in this tortured analogy. There are other issues. There are other, especially even with electoral politics. There's other things we need to be considering, because I also want to talk about the issues that have been ignored because we, of the group of people that are actually seriously looking at solving problems, we spend, out of necessity, so much of our time just struggling to keep things from collapsing. There's some forward thinking we got to do, and a great example of another country doing it. So we're going to get to all that, and of course, with the new format, if you have a suggestion for a video clip you'd like us to check out and react to on air, and most importantly, discuss what we can do about it, drop it in the link in the pinned comment. That'll take you to a Google Sheet, and from there, you can share the link. I'll grab it, and we'll talk about what you can do. Let's say hi to the gang. Anti-corporatist, good to see you, my friend. I had a coupon for a free Whataburger. Gotta tell you, I'm real jealous of anybody who has access to that chain. Because even though I have, since discovering it, I have become a vegetarian, I like to hope that they'll get, if they don't already have it, that they'll get a one of those Impossible patties. And at that point, if I ever get it confirmed that Whataburger has Impossible patties, I will be moving to whatever location has a Whataburger because their burgers are delicious. Anti-corporate is saying, so does anyone know that you're having a show 2 minutes ago? I don't think so. I think I have been erratic with when I put the show up. So the usual crowd ain't used to it yet. Nor should they be, because I would be fascinated to know how they knew I was going live at this time. I didn't this morning. Pinkerbell, good to see you. Wireless Mike, good to see you. And Rustbox, hello there. You should rename to old pal Jake. And, I might do that. I just like so much the old school radio thing of turning call letters into a saying, like the riff, WRIF. I love that. And that's also the vibe I want. I understand why people ape like the evening news. And in fact, I guess I'm wearing a suit. There's that, but I'd wear that for just me. This is just the clothes I enjoy. No, I like the vibe of FM radio specifically. So I'm gonna keep pretending like my show is that. Oh, mercy me. The anti-corporatist, Detroit's best country. Is that what the riff became? They were rock. The last classic rock. The last time I listened to them. I haven't listened to the radio in a good long time, despite my love of the general format. There really is nothing else quite like streaming, and despite taking notes from other things, I don't know. The convenience of being able to go pull up your favorite show or the one you happen to be looking for on your phone with tippy taps and all that. Oh. Never gonna beat it in my eyes. Domenico, good to see you. I am with you and listening to house music. Well, all right. WYCD says the anti-corporatist. Detroit's best country. Yeah, they beat me to it by a country mile. Tinkerbell, no, that's what comes when you search WYCD on YouTube, a radio station that's Detroit's best country. That'll be my mark. That'll be my my measure for when the show has properly taken off, when WYCD turns up this channel more than the country station. But I can't stress this enough. I'm not looking forward to those days because with growth comes responsibility, and I don't want it. I like the lack of responsibility now is like just perfect. Like, I do feel an obligation not to say things that I don't genuinely mean, but I like being able to have a whack at London's dry gin and then do a stream and say, you know what, Republicans. Speaking of, haven't had a whack at that gin, but Republicans. Let's get to the stories of the night. Assuming I find the graphics. Oh, Kenny Stahl. There we go. Mercy me. Oh, yes. Hey, who wants to watch a Republican realize that serious people don't take him seriously? This is a revelation I think all people need to have. Serious people don't take Republicans seriously. Another way to put it is serious people don't trust Republicans. Because Republicans are unworthy of trust. Just based on the record. If you've watched a Republican in the last, frankly, 10 years, but let's just zero in even more. In the last 5, 6 years, you know these are not people to be trusted. You know these are basically conmen. If you saw somebody with a straw dandy's hat outside of a cart selling snake oil, saying, "Snake oil here, get your snake oil. Cures all. Cures hangovers. Cures the cold. Cures loneliness. Snake oil." You would immediately know. There would be no question. Like, oh, this person is a conman. It's the same with Republicans and anybody who actually follows politics with sincerity. Doesn't take them seriously. Here's an interviewer actually treating a Republican appropriately.
But according to your state constitution, you would need to go to court. What do you think would be your strongest argument?
No, not at all. Not at all. If
your state constitution actually states that the Secretary of State lacks authority to assess qualifications of a candidate to determine whether to place a candidate's name on a primary ballot. That's according to section 115.387 of your state constitution.
Sir.
So for context, that's the Missouri Attorney General. And what they're trying to do is a tit for tat. We're kicking Biden off the ballot because in another state, Colorado in this case, they kicked Trump off the ballot. And from the perspective of a Republican, which is to say a clown, it makes sense to just try to do the same thing to their political opponents. Oh, consequences for one of our actions were actually experienced by us. And so the only logical thing to do is to have the consequences for our actions applied to our opponents as well. For our actions, for our misdeeds. Like if you were holding a jersey in football in order to commit pass interference, and in their mind, the penalty should be called for both the quarterback, the receiver, and the defender. All should get it. It's nonsensical, in other words. Watch him try to explain the logic.
What I'm saying is, if the Supreme Court upholds the ruling out of Colorado, and what
which went to court to disqualify Donald Trump from the ballot. So you, according to your state constitution, would need to go to court.
Sir, let's just be clear. First of all, you've already said you're not an attorney and you don't know what happened in Colorado. I
know what happened in Colorado, sir. What I said was that I didn't read through all of the evidence specifically to be able to qualify whether there was hearsay or not. To get back to my question, you said that you would decide to remove Joe Biden from the ballot in your state. According to your state constitution, which I just read to you from, it says you need to go to court. I'm asking you what you think your strongest argument is.
And I continue to try to answer your questions, and you continue to try to tell me stuff that just isn't true.
That's not factual, sir. You made an accusation about me not knowing something. I'm trying to clarify it for you. You can choose to answer the question or just continue deflecting. What is the strongest argument you would make in court to remove Joe Biden from the ballot? Go.
What has happened is
So Monday's going with the football analogy still. Monday morning quarterback, and could have been a little bit more brief, but this interviewer was right to force this guy to answer the question he specifically asked. There's something called the Gish Gallop that basically is the main thing Republicans do. Listen for it, and you'll be able to recognize it pretty easily. They ramble rather than answer the question. Whatever if it's an uncomfortable question, they ramble and try to burn out their time in front of the microphone. And their goal is not to convince people that they are right. Their goal is to convince people that they were making an argument and that all of this is just too confusing to follow and that you should just leave believing what you came in believing. That's their actual goal. If it seems dishonest, it's because these people are filth.
I said in my statement was, if this becomes the law of the land and the Supreme Court...
That a state can choose how to qualify candidates on the ballot or not according to their state's constitutions? I'm just trying to clarify the point. I'm trying to clarify the point.
The United States Constitution is supreme over state constitutions. I hope you at least understand that. Now, I have to talk a little bit about the Colorado case. In Colorado, that lawsuit started because there's a law that prohibits the election authority, the Secretary of State, from doing something, well, in the vernacular, from doing something they're not supposed to do. That's how the lawsuit started. That same law, or a very similar law, applies to me in Missouri. If anyone can say so-and-so isn't supposed to be on the ballot and it's wrong for you to put them on the ballot, then we're going to see secretaries of state, elections authorities, maybe even county clerks across this country removing people.
So there's a rhetorical thing that they are also fans of doing. Republicans are, and I actually don't know what it's called. I'm sure some clever person out there knows the actual name of this technique, and if it's you, let me know in the comments. But here it is. If a Republican goes up and stands in line somewhere, and I cut in front of them, and they say, "Hey, I was in front of you," and I say, "Well, if we're just saying that it doesn't, but you can just declare where you were in line, then I say I'm at the front of the line. If that's what we're saying, then I'm at the front of the line." It's not what we're saying. In that hypothetical, I cut in front of them, and they simply pointed that out. Then I took what they said and I said, well, if wrong interpretation of what they said, then I'm just going to blank, 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 blank. Donald Trump got kicked off the ballot in Colorado for a very specific reason. Being a goddamn traitor. Sorry, withdrawing on the blasphemy. Being a GD traitor. That's what he got kicked off for. An insurrection attempt. Trying to overturn the will of the people. Trying to betray voters, including voters in Colorado. The Colorado Secretary of State, frankly, the government there, did right by trying to defend their people from this attack on their people's voice. So his saying, if anybody can just say that a person isn't willing to blah, 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 or isn't able to run, then that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to take some random person's accusation about Joe Biden and blah, 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 kick him off the ballot. He's misleading. He's intentionally trying to be confusing, and it would be great if somebody in the media, some handsome gentleman, let's say with a silver tie and a fine beard, were to call him out on it.
From the ballot. I think that is a terrible thing. So, I am against that. And what I said was, if the Supreme Court allows it, that slippery slope is going to happen to everybody. They need to stop it from happening to anybody.
I'm sure the Supreme Court will settle whether you can remove someone from the ballot or not, or potentially give guidance on that. I'm wondering, though, what would then be your justification for removing Joe Biden from the ballot in Missouri? Has he engaged, in your mind, in some kind of insurrection?
There have been allegations that he's engaged in insurrection.
How so?
And no, please let me finish. There have only been allegations. You can't say
something like that and not back it up. What do you mean?
I am continuing,
Watch
but
the
you
eyeballs.
Interrupted me before I could back it up.
Go ahead,
Are you
sir.
scared of the truth?
Oh, I am not terrified of the truth at all. It seems like you might be. Let's hear what you have to say.
There have only been allegations against President Trump has never been adjudicated guilty in a court of law.
What did Joe Biden do, in your mind, that equates insurrection? What allegations are you talking about?
I have seen allegations from the Lieutenant Governor of Texas that has said that Joe Biden has been part of insurrection or rebellion. We've seen the governor of Florida say the same thing.
Insurrection over what? What did the governor of Texas say that Joe Biden was causing an insurrection over? If you're going to make the claim, give me some specifics. Are you just going to cite the governor of Texas or Florida and not actually say what they are arguing? Do you know what they're arguing?
What I'm telling you is this. They made allegations, and all it took for former President Trump to be taken off the ballot in Colorado and in Maine were allegations. We should not be a country that removes people from the ballot based on allegations. I think you can agree with that.
I think it depends to a degree.
Oh, so your guy can be removed from the ballot.
My guy, Joe Biden is not my guy. You don't know who my guy is. The point is, sir, the point is that it's not clear whether the 14th Amendment is self-executing or not. In other words, it doesn't matter to a court at that point whether there was a conviction of Donald Trump for insurrection or not. That is a debate.
But just to be clear, there's a serious legal conversation to be had about whether or not, as he says, the 14th Amendment is self-executing. Meaning whether or not you need a court to affirm that a person engaged in an insurrection, for example. This Missouri AG is not engaging in that conversation. They're doing their best to distract from it because he's filth.
Debate for the Supreme Court to have.
He's committed insurrection if there's not a conviction?
A judge decided so in Colorado.
Boom.
But it wasn't a judge in Maine. It was just the Secretary of State.
Because that's the way the Constitution in Maine is laid out, sir.
The Constitution in Maine gives the Secretary of State the ability to decide whether or not someone has violated.
As part of a process, yes, someone can make the claim that someone shouldn't be on a ballot, that something they did disqualifies them. The Secretary of State is the first layer in a legal process of deciding whether that person belongs on a ballot or not. It's in Maine state constitution. I think you should probably read it, sir, before you make claims about the Maine Secretary of State and their process. We got to leave the conversation there, but I very much appreciate your time. You're welcome back anytime, sir.
Why? I guess to make a fool of himself. Serious people don't take Republicans seriously. Serious people do not trust Republicans. That's what you can do about this. We don't need to convince people that follow this closely. If people follow this stuff closely and they're on the side of the Republicans, they are choosing to be deluded. They've made that choice, and that's a separate conversation to have. Why have you chosen to believe lies? Why do you know you listen to only propaganda? You know you don't believe the things you say you believe. So we must delve down into why you are choosing to build a dark and evil alternate reality. That's a separate conversation, but that's frankly not the average person in America. If by the way, most people that follow this closely are going to fall onto your way of thinking, because you exist in reality. But if you come across someone that follows it closely, that's not on your side in this case, when it comes to who the Republicans are, separate conversation to be having. But that's not the average voter. The average voter knows terrifyingly little about what's going on around him. The average voter in the United States is chosen ignorance because they believe they can get away with it. They believe that they can rattle off a couple of vapid reasons for voting who they're voting for, and that you're just supposed to accept that, and you're just supposed to treat them like they're a real grown-up with car keys and everything. Those days are gone. If somebody says they are considering voting, even considering voting for a Republican, make sure they hear this phrase. Preach this phrase. Serious people don't trust Republicans. Swing voters are only on the fence because they don't understand the broad strokes of who the choices are. So make it clear. Republicans are greedy traitors with no intention of making anyone's life better. Anyone who doesn't know this does not understand U.S. politics and should be treated as though they don't understand U.S. politics. Be very simple with them. Okay, you just said you're thinking you're going to vote Republican. Obviously, you don't know who these people are. Obviously, you don't realize they are traitors. If there is any doubt in your mind, stop watching Fox News, which lost a $1 billion lawsuit to Dominion for lying about the very things you believe right now. If there's any question in your mind as to whether or not you should vote for Republicans, what you've told me just now is that you have no idea what's going on. And so I'll just tell you this. Serious people, people you'd trust to do anything. Hold on to your wallet for 5 minutes. Drive your kids to a soccer practice. Serious people. They don't even consider Republicans. Republicans are a bunch of con artists. That's all. At best, that's all they are. In the most generous light, that's all they are. They also happen to be, and I say this to the hypothetical person and also to you, the audience, with the utmost sincerity, a bunch of damn traitors. Don't consider voting for traitors. Serious people don't do that. Oh, we got more. We got more on this very same thing. Let's take a break, see what the audience has to say. Did anyone watch the arguments today? Says the anti-corporatist. I only made it through about 5 minutes before Trump's attorney's voice gave me a headache. I watched it. I thought it was interesting. I don't have any great revelations. I'm sorry, but I just thought it was interesting. Jess Rush, good to see you. I've been working too much. Missed you guys. Well, we missed you too. And Sandy from Environmental Coffee House, delighted to see you, my friend. Hello to you as well. PNC Bio, someone teach this politician civics, right? Bello Greasy, good to see you. Domenico, because the ultimate intolerable, unacceptable, and etc. truth is that Trump in power cost the U.S. and the world lives, and will do so again should he return to power or remain free. Well put, and I agree. Good to see you, Wireless Mike. Good to see you to the whole gang. Oh, happy birthday, Snixabia. Let's I need the wicked equivalent to the shofar. Happy birthday. I'll give you an Emma shofar. Wait. That wasn't even it. I can't do an impression of Emma's impression. Oh well. That's Jake's Emma's shofar. Happy birthday, Snix. Same thing. This isn't going in the recording. This is just for you guys on the Crunchy stream. Let's look at Jesse Waters being an itchit.
So what is at stake? Well, Biden says the election is a choice between democracy and dictatorship.
This is like something out of a fairy tale. Bad fairy tale. He went on to say he'd be a dictator on day one.
True.
I mean, if I were writing a book of fiction, and I said an American president said that, and not in jest.
Biden's running on the dictator on day one hoax, which would be the...
I watched him say it. Didn't he say it on Fox? Dictator on day one. He said, I wouldn't be a dictator. Except on day one. On day one, I'd do a lot of things. That's what he said. Literally what he said. Just want to really emphasize the point. Serious people don't get lied to by this clown and keep listening. Serious people don't think that jackass, Jesse Waters, is a source of information that is to be trusted, ever, about anything. If you see anybody watching this, annoy them. Make their day a little bit worse. Make them afraid to be seen watching this. Make them braced to be annoyed. Because they know you're going to come in the room and say, why the hell are you watching this idiot? All right, let me tell you all the things he's wrong about. They're in the break room on their phone or whatever. Get in their grill. These people cannot and should not be treated as though they're behaving normally when they do this, because they're not behaving normally. They're a bunch of savages. And they're making the world worse. And they know that's what they're doing. I'm not thrilled by that. I wish everybody who was a Fox watcher had the wherewithal to see they got lied to during the Dominion suit and stop watching Fox altogether. And hey, some people did. Pretty decent chunk of people did. Couple, 10,000, 20,000? Neat. That's good. The entirety of Fox's audience should be gone. Anybody who has remained is choosing to be a fool. You're not doing them a kindness by ignoring that. In fact, if you genuinely care about them, don't do them the disservice of letting them deceive themselves. Be frank about this. Be very clear about what they are doing, the evil they are actively engaged in by donating to the ratings. It's intervention time for the United States. This is coming from me, for God's sake. Let's start by cleaning up our sources of information. Do not listen to Fox about anything. Do not listen to a Republican politician about anything. They are traitors. We're not going to, if they all go back to acting normal, quote unquote, tomorrow, they drop the traitor talk. They pretend like Donald Trump never existed. They just quietly let him get convicted. Fox just stops covering it because it becomes too embarrassing too often. And they go back to acting like they were acting 15 years ago. That's not good enough. They've revealed who they are. No one, for the rest of our lives, can be at peace when they mention they're a Republican voter. Not from you, not from me, not from anybody with a sense of decency. A statement like that cannot be allowed to rest. The questions you're going to have to ask are you gullible? Or are you genuinely trying to destroy the country you live in? And it's a serious question, demanding a serious answer. And whatever it is, your goal to change that. At the very least, let them know what is going on, what they are, what they're supporting. But you're not supposed to get more passionate about it than they are. You should always be less passionate about it than they are. Just inform them. You're voting for con artists. These people have been proven to be liars. They are traitors. The fact that you would feel comfortable saying out loud that you've ever even considered giving them more power tells me you know nothing about how the world works. And you shouldn't vote at all until you have a good understanding about how the world works. But you're a long, long, long way away from that. You are either truly attempting to destroy the country you live in, or you are such a mark. You are such a target for con artists that you have been surrounded by opportunities to know the truth, and you have been guided away from all of them by some of the dumbest people who have ever picked up a fucking stupid-ass American flag pin. It's a brutal conversation you're going to have. I'm sorry, but you are. That's our responsibility. It's not exactly like charging the beaches of Normandy. Take heart in that. Fighting the Nazis in past generations was a hell of a lot harder. This time, it's just uncomfortable conversations with desperately misinformed friends and family. But they're conversations we're obligated to have. Bella Lugrisi, history books will remark on the total lack of ethics and morality of this Republican regime. They lie and dance dressed in grass skirts of the Constitution they shredded. That is well put and quite true. What? Mike, it's your birthday too? I'm scrolling back up. Ha! Happy birthday to Wireless Mike as well. We got 2 birthdays here. Snixabia and Wireless Mike. Mike, I based on your, I'm not going to spoil how old you are for the VOD crowd. But I will say, based on your voice alone, I would have bought anywhere from 25 to 60. You have just a classic voice, and you will be served well by it. My own is let's hope stay strong, at least for the rest of this year. Oh, I sure hope I saved the right link. We're about to find out. I just saw the sheet I have. All right. Oof. Not going to be a thrilling video segment, but that's okay. They don't all have to be. Boy, I really nearly called this segment humorous sex joke related things, but the more I think about it, the sadder I get. So I've decided, I'll avoid the easy jokes for now. No promises throughout the segment. Hey, guess what? It's really, really common for people who performatively hate homosexuals to wind up being a little bit gay, at the very least. I don't even like saying, like, oh, it turns out they're gay. Yeah, I think a lot of times it turns out they enjoy the occasional fling with someone of the same gender. That's the whole issue with being performative. You're trying to convince others that you feel a certain way. I think plenty of people hate homosexuals and are straight. And I think those people tend to, what do I even say this? Not conserve. They tend to reserve their energy they put into it for the ballot box. They just find someone who they know will be cruel to homosexuals, and they vote for that person. And that's all they do. And they don't talk about it a lot of the time because they don't think about it a lot of the time. Other folks, though, do think about it a lot. And they are surrounded by a community of scum. And so they try to act like scum. It's going to be a studied phenomenon, I'm certain. But for now, it's just something that's known. Hey, guess what? You remember that guy that smashed up the pride displays at Target? Don't worry. If it doesn't come to mind, if you're wondering which one, I'll specify which one, because guess where they just found him? Give you a hint. It's an app. Ethan Schmidt. Screenshots appear to show anti-LGBTQ plus activists sexting men on gay dating app. Ethan Schmidt, a right-wing anti-LGBTQ plus activist who once threatened to hunt down gay people and was once filmed destroying a pride collection at a Target store, has gone viral after screenshots of Schmidt's alleged activity on a gay dating app surfaced on social media. Twitter users shared what appeared to be sexually explicit conversations the Arizona-based extremist had with a man on Grindr. Now wait a minute. Grindr. Based on that orange and white color scheme and my own extensive knowledge, anonymously, I believe that's Adam for Adam, a gay dating app which, for some reason, tends to attract more of these self-hating weirdos. In one of the image, if you use Adam for Adam, I'm not calling you a self-hating weirdo. I'm just saying, for whatever reason, it tends to have more of the self-hating weirdos on it. Sorry, that sucks. In one of the images, the person Schmidt, who also goes by Ethan Schmidt Crockett, is allegedly having a conversation with, asks him for a face pic. That face pic. Right there. I don't know, man. I'm kind of high profile and discreet, he allegedly replies. The individual then requests for a selfie. Okay, daddy, but only 'cause I'm hard for you, Schmidt allegedly responds before sharing that photo right there. Schmidt's up there with the classic racist's red hat on. You know, the bigot's red hat, and he's up there on the left, smashing a pride display, really trying to make sure that anybody who enjoys same-sex relations feels unwelcome, that they know that there are people like him out there who will make their lives worse. And then there he is, allegedly, on the right as well, telling a guy that he's hard for him. I read the rest of the conversations. Sounds basically like standard gay dating app fare. Let me tell you something. If you're a man, you're disgusting. I'm not blaming you. I tell you this as a man who is disgusting. We're filthy creatures. We really are. And so when two gentlemen flirt with each other on a gay dating app, generally, not always, everybody's different, but generally, they do so exactly as you'd imagine a couple of fellas would. There's not a lot of subtlety. There's not a lot of imagination involved. It's, give me that jizz. You know? And that was more or less the conversation had between the person who is alleged to be Ethan Crockett Smith. No, wait, Ethan Schmidt - Crockett. There we go. And his potential paramour. Schmidt, it's worth noting, denied the allegations. He said he was on the app because he was hunting for pedophiles. And apparently, this guy sums it up best.
Because LGBT...
Gothboy on Twitter, also known as Broitzcher. It's a weird handle.
Equals communism. Oh yeah, and don't forget it's satanic propaganda. Even had a flag burning there. Yeah. Ethan lives.
Whoop, that's terrible. Oh, let me refresh this. It's worthy of refreshing. Yeah, where's my thing here? I hate everything. Refresh cache, please. Okay. Let's play this Twitter clip.
And also hates the gays.
Oh, this is painful.
Because LGBT equals communism. Oh yeah, and don't forget it's satanic propaganda. You even had a flag burning there. Yeah. Ethan lives in Arizona.
Oh, that's painful. Twitter, you gotta fix the app. Let's try. Let's see. If I click this, oh, it doesn't even take us there. Once again, Twitter letting us down. All right, I'll just give you a play-by-play. So what apparently happens is when this initially came out, people asked him, why are you there? That's your face. What's going on? To which he responds, I was hunting for pedophiles. And then more of the conversation got released, and he's saying, I can't wait to have your jizz in my beard. Doesn't seem he's talking to a grown man, a person who's identifying as a grown man, seeking a grown man. He's not pretending. He's mentioning his beard specifically. He's not pretending to be a kid. So, like hunting for deer in scuba gear, it just doesn't make sense. It does not make sense. Also worth noting, this guy, his hate is not reserved for the LGBTQ plus community. He also is in court for threatening synagogues and just generally being a Republican. You know, being the kind of scum that they encourage all of their voters to be. Here's what you can do. And it might be a little bit funny, but this is sincere. I'm not saying to do this as a trick. I'm saying performative homophobia is a genuine phenomenon in right-wing communities. And it's a phenomenon that seems to involve very often people who are experiencing same-sex attraction. Again, I don't want to say gay. If I even had to guess, I would say most people are somewhere in the middle. How far? Who cares? How interested in sex are they even? Who cares? But when somebody comes from a community that is bigoted towards people who experience same-sex attraction, sometimes they can react to feeling same-sex attraction by being performatively homophobic. What I would recommend you do is that whenever and if ever you hear someone rant about the LGBTQ plus community, cut them off and just tell them you will not reject them for being gay. Somebody's saying the gays are trying to this, that, the other thing. The gays are trying to mess with your kids. The gays are trying to make the whole world get gay married. Just cut them off and say, look, hey, fella, hey, lady, whoever's ranting, I will not reject you for being gay. I'm not saying you are, but if it turns out that you are, because most of the people who rant about gays this much, that's a bit of a stretch. A lot of the people who rant about gays this much wind up later turning out to have an attraction to people of the same gender that they are. If that's you, I just want you to know I'm not going to reject you for that. And I would like you to stop being cruel to people that experience same-sex attraction. It's not a big deal. Unless you make it a big deal. I'm asking you to not make it a big deal. And I'm telling you that if and when you tell me, or I come across the knowledge that you too experience same-sex attraction, I will not reject you for it. I won't make your life more difficult for that. But you should tell them in earnestness, in complete sincerity. It will accomplish two things. Number one, if deep down they're like Ethan Schmidt Crockett, a person who appears to experience same-sex attraction and attempts to deal with that by being performatively homophobic, if they are like that, then they may come to you one day and say, thank you for what you said. It made it easier for me to accept who I am. And good. We can also play with the silly concerns of silly people. And there would be few things more satisfying than us discovering that the easiest way to shut down these rants is to make those rants be associated with closeted gay folks. It would be beautiful. I would love to see somebody who's genuinely not gay and genuinely is just such a low piece of garbage that they're trying to be bigoted towards this group as a sport for funsies. I would love to see them clam up about it because it makes them look really, really gay. And also really, really uncomfortable with who they are. Give it some thought, but use kindness aggressively. And I think we'll have some success on this front. Ooh, Tinkerbell, that dude is a menace. Yeah. I really only touched on the gay stuff because I didn't want to go into a big rant about it. But I mean, he is a menace. He's a genuinely horrible person. I don't think it matters to him what group he's kicking, whether he's in it or not. He's gonna try to kick a group because that's all he can do in life, I guess. I take that back. I actually do think he goes twice as hard on the gays because he's a little nervous. Tinkerbell spent 30 years running from themselves by being loudly homophobic. Yeah. Tinkerbell, ooh, they hate it when you point that out, Jake. I know. Wireless Mike, I have zero issues with LGBTQ plus people, but I have no tolerance for self-hating closeted queers who bully other people. I have to say this. I understand where that comes from. Because I remember making cruel gay jokes before I even really understood, like truly grasped what sexuality was, much less same-sex attraction. And unfortunately I was in an environment where when I was young enough that I didn't have to feel I felt bad, but not too terrible about it because it was genuine ignorance. I had that stuff explained to me and I stopped doing it. But if you lived your whole life in such an environment where calling people the F word or just using saying gay as a way to mean bad, if that was the environment you not only grew up in but came of age in, and then much later you're in your late 20s or whatever and you have a couple of drinks at a bar and you find out I'm thinking some thoughts here. You're going to react to it weird. You're just going to react to it weird. And I'm not saying it makes it right. I'm not saying it even makes it... I'm not saying it makes them faultless for then turning around and saying, like, well, better be cruel to a whole class of people. I'm just saying I understand that it's possible to come from a place that doesn't originate with hate, but truly does originate with ignorance and fear and surprise and blah, 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 blah. I'm saying I'm not even making the case that we shouldn't hate somebody like Ethan Schmidt. I hate him. I think he's worthy of hate. And I think I'm not an anti any sort of hate preacher. I'm just saying I don't think it's worse than somebody who just picks somebody they think they can get away with picking on and jumps on them. As bad, maybe. Tinkerbell, in quotes, I just don't want it shoved down my throat. Yeah, dude, that's the gayest shit I've ever heard. Yes. Look, I'm fine with gays. I just don't want my hands pinned to the wall and the time of my life had in a hotel room in off Highway 94. That one beautiful night in autumn. The anti-corporatist. Big man, strong man, tears in his eyes. Yeah. Oh, geez, did I delete that? Stand by. Oh, right, here we go. All right, gang. Talking about China. But it's not a bad thing, actually. I'm not a big China fan, but once in a while, they do all right. Whoops, and I've played a bit of the video. Well, that's probably good. Stand by. We gonna talk about video games. Once in a while, we'll get a surprise. And we'll see another country doing something that we ought to do. I've noticed that there are a lot of folks saying we need literally more youthful representatives. I don't always agree with that. I think when people say that, what they really mean is we need not even what they really mean. What I hear in that is that we need representatives who have not been in government for 20, 30 years, who have been forced to live like us recently. But sometimes, genuinely, having younger folks as part of the decision-making process is good. One of the reasons is that they tend to have a knowledge of upcoming industries, trends, things that do need regulations. Case in point, China just banned gambling for children in video games. If you don't know, I don't think he explains it, so if you don't know what I'm referring to, you go to like Electronic Arts, EA, some of their games. You can pay money, like actual real crisp dollars. You can pay them money and get something called a loot box. And this loot box, well, it could be anything. Could be something really good, could be something not so good in terms of the video game. Like if it's a shooter game, it could be a really good tip-top of the line gun or a new costume for your person to wear, or it could be just a bunch of nonsense that you don't really need, like health packs that are already constantly generated or whatever. It's gambling for kids because you don't win money, you win in-game currency. The guns, the skins for your character, etc., the outfits for your character, etc. but it's still gambling. Now, we almost did some legislation about that in the United States, but Republicans blocked it. Guess what China just did?
Something really wild. Online games will now be banned from giving players rewards if they log in every day. If they spend on the game the first time, like the top-up bonuses, gone. If they spend several times on the game consecutively, so chain money, they're like...
So these are all practices which are designed to make a habit out of the video game that you're playing. It's a problem, I think. It's worthy of discussion. I'm sure there's people that think, wait a minute, daily reward bonuses for logging in? There's nothing wrong with that. I don't think there's anything wrong with that for adults. But video games are famously something children love. There is something wrong, in my opinion. There is something wrong with that for children. An adult is allowed to smoke and drink and whatever for the same reason that I think it's probably fine if they have a daily reward, blah, 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 in a video game. Their minds are developed enough to make these decisions. They've seen snake oil salesmen before. They know what the hustle is. They're allowed to participate in the hustle so long as they're able to understand what it is. Kids get that game bought by their parents on Christmas. Kids have a different set of circumstances.
Like, oh, you bought like 5 items. You can get 50% off the next item. That's gone. In addition, games will be
tricking you into spending more money, in other words.
Stop from luck-based draw mechanics, like
loot boxes.
Loot boxes to minors. No more gacha for kids.
Before you start thinking this is just a silly niche thing, I'd like to point out something to you. Since I was working, it's gone way beyond this. Since I was working in DIV in Detroit, the video game industry generates more money than the auto industry and the film industry combined. More money than cars and movies combined. How much would the economy be affected if the auto industry disappeared overnight? Hell, over 5 years. How much would it be affected? A lot. That's the size of the beast we're talking about here. Something significantly larger than both the movie industry and the auto industry. Even if you don't play them yourself, you should take an interest in the regulation.
That's good. It is crazy to see this. So these are all banned now in China. Panic among investors, wiping nearly $80 billion in market value off of China's 2 biggest gaming companies. The moment that they did this, $80 billion. Let
me just be clear. Not $80 billion in market value total. Not $80 billion in market value around the world. $80 billion off of China's 2 biggest gaming companies. That's the size of the beast we're talking about. And they deserved to have that money taken away from them because they were making $80 billion a year off of scamming kids. They were robbing the parents by tricking the children.
Wiped off the map, dude. Now, here's the thing that's really interesting. People will be like, oh, that's just going to be in China. They're going to use them everywhere else. I don't know about that. Remember when the EU implemented all of its online laws and then every website does this? I think the rest of the market's going to follow suit. This is a rare China W for me. These are some of the most predatory dog shit business things I've ever seen in games. And it feels weird, but I agree with you, China. Please get rid of this shit. China has actually just announced something really
fantastic. Good job, China. I'm with Pirate Software there. The fella's name is Thor. I kid you not. His dad is also a game fella, so that'll explain a lot. Yeah, I'm with him. It's a good. I'm not normally with China, but that was a good move on their part. By the way, you'll probably have an easier time than you think getting legislation to regulate our own video game industry in place. Because they don't have their hooks into politicians nearly as much as other industries do in the U.S. There's just not that infrastructure. They haven't been doing it since the 70s. Now, I don't think we should start going on a crusade. We shouldn't do another, no more violence in video games tirade. There's just basic business practices. Which shouldn't be allowed. Don't sell gambling to kids. If you're adding an extra step, it's still gambling. The loot boxes, those gotta go. If you want to specify 18 plus can use loot boxes, all right, fine. But children should not be enticed with gambling. Boy. But this is the fact that we don't have much regulation regarding these things is a symptom of a larger problem. Young folks got to throw their hat in the ring. We need more Alexandria Ocasio-Cortezes. We need more Max Frosts. We need more young bucks. I'm not supposed to, I think that is not a good phrase. We need more young folks in Congress. I mean, it's that simple. There are people in Congress now who have literally never opened an email. We just can't have that. We have to have people that have a sense of the actual issues that are on the horizon, as well as people who know what is going on presently. Pretty easy to do that, as it turns out. Encourage a good-hearted gamer to run for office. Encourage people with diverse life experiences to run for office. You think there ought to be somebody in the legislature, legislature? In the House and Senate who know Congress, that's the word I was looking for. If you think there ought to be someone in Congress who has some sense of what the food service industry is like, find someone in the food service industry and encourage them to run. If you think there ought to be someone in there that knows what gaming is like, find someone who games, ask them to run. If somebody drives around the country for a living or is involved with I'm trying to think of industries that I know you guys are involved in bartending, etc., and you think we are lacking legislation there, encourage them to run for office. There's a link in the description which tells you how to run, which makes it easy. Give that to them. And my recommendation is find a gamer and give that to them. Because, cannot stress this enough, the industry of gaming is now larger, and has been for some time, than both the auto industry and the film industry combined. The size of the beast we're talking about, and we should have people in Congress who are aware enough of it to deal with it. Let's check out what the audience has to say. Domenico, I like poker, but I have analyzed the math of that game that is between luck, gambling, and skill, basically patience and appropriate aggression, amongst other facets. Yeah. Yes, this logic, says Domenico, is applicable across all industries. Yeah. I think so as well. And to your poker comment, yeah, and you're an adult. Like, if you want to go drop 20 on a bet, go for it. you understand. You've thought about it. You understand the probability. For you, that $20 is an entertainment expense. You're hoping that you get it back and more, but you're not counting on that. But young folks do not have a lot of experience with these things. Young folks are protected from these things because their brains literally are still developing. And they don't possess the same ability to rationally, usually, by and large, they don't possess the same ability to rationally assess the situation. And hence, I think they should be protected, especially in what is designed to be a safe environment, especially in a video game. It might simulate all kinds of things. It simulates aliens trying their darndest to tear you to shreds. But the whole point is, if that fake alien succeeds, the only thing they tear to shreds is a fake version of you as a video game character or whatever hero you're playing as opposed to the real-world consequences of having your money taken by an evil company. Anticorporatus understands LLMs. I don't know what LLMs means. I'm sorry. The Anticorporatus, yeah, I only play poker at tournaments with limited rebuys. Makes sense. Ah! Domenico saying, you got it. You pronounced my name flawlessly. Yahoo! I'm enthralled. Excellent. I'm trying, man. I'm famously terrible at pronouncing even words I've been saying my whole life, but I genuinely want to get it right. So thank you for being patient with me. Dinner was excellent, says Pakerbell. Bud time now. Fair enough. Oh, the Anticorporatus. That reminds me, I need to get my daily points. Oh, yeah. I would, generally speaking, just look towards industries where you think there is. What I was really trying to think of earlier is, however you say the rail industry, a professional term for that, somebody that works on railroads. But I couldn't think of it, so I went elsewhere. Oh, this is an interesting one. Ooh, sorry, folks. I goofed. Hold up, let me load this up again. Do-do-do. Diddly-do-do. Diddly-do. Diddly-diddly-do. All right, we're back. One hopes. Now we're good. Okay. I just rewatched Fight Night. I still need to make a few changes for the next upload, but I like it more a week out. I was iffy, and now I'm back to liking it. Let's record this puppy. Got a suggestion from Wireless Mike. Thank you so much. At the end of our streams now, we are doing suggestions from the audience. The clip in question is from CNN. Somebody who was convicted in January 6th. I think I know this lady, too. I know of this lady, I should say. Somebody who was convicted for participating in an insurrection at Donald Trump's behest. She's now speaking out against Trump. She's one of the few, the brave. Let's have a look.
Of the third anniversary of the January 6th attack, we've got dueling speeches tonight. One from the man accused of fomenting the insurrection, and the other from the one who replaced him. They also happen to be the two frontrunners in the 2024 race.
Is democracy still America's sacred cause? We all know who Donald Trump is. The question we have to answer is, who are we?
Now, this was billed as the kickoff speech for the Biden campaign season, and his disgust with Trump was apparent.
Taking a hammer to Paul Pelosi's skull, and he thinks that's funny. He laughed about it. What a sick... My God. I think it's despicable, seriously. The legal path just took Trump back to the truth. That I'd won the election and he was a loser. Called dead soldiers suckers and losers. How dare he? Who in God's name does he think he is?
Just a short time ago, Trump addressed this speech in front of a crowd in Iowa with a mature response.
That's why Crooked Joe is staging his pathetic fear-mongering campaign event in Pennsylvania today. Did you see him? He was stuttering through the whole thing. He's going to, he's a threat to democracy. I'm a threat. They've weaponized government. He's saying, I'm a threat to democracy.
Just a quick reminder from our very first segment. Nobody who is serious takes those motherfuckers seriously, nor should they.
He's a threat to democracy. Well, okay.
I mean, let's just forget all the hatred of Trump and just express the reality here. He's literally making fun of a guy with a stutter. Joe Biden has a stutter. This is known. Why is that getting any laughs? Why? What's the joke there? Pathetic. This is pathetic.
Couldn't read the word.
Now, Trump's words, they used to resonate with my next guest, Pam Hemphill. She believed then-President Trump, and she showed up at the Capitol on January 6th. She was convicted, and she served 2 months inside federal prison. She joins me now. Pam, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me on.
What is your reaction to what you just heard there from President Trump? Is Biden fear-mongering about the fate of democracy here?
Absolutely not. You know, that's the mega, I don't know how to explain it, but they have this way of demeaning you and putting you down. And that's what they've got going right now is this huge gaslighting smear campaign going on, telling me that it was a peaceful protest. I was there. I was there when they pushed those gates and those officers, and when they stepped on my head, and it was an officer that saved my life that day. Biden is right on with everything he's saying. Trump is a dangerous, and I mean dangerous, narcissist. He's a cult leader. He needs to be put in prison. He's not any different than his friend. What was that guy that had just got, they're saying that he was killed himself in the prison. Epstein, friends with Epstein.
Whoa!
Trump is disgusting.
In their appeal to the Supreme Court, I'm sure you know, Trump is facing...
Super unprofessional. I shouldn't eat chocolate when I'm live streaming. But I did. And I don't regret it. It was in front of me. I didn't know it was there that I saw it, so I had to eat it. That's just the rules. I love how frank she is. If you want to know the best arguments to use against a point of view, listen to somebody who has left that point of view and is arguing against it now. That's why Apologia is one of the best atheist talkers. It's why Owen Morgan is as well. You don't have to be an atheist to enjoy their content. It's just they don't believe in God, and they used to believe in God, and because of that, they have a great ability to communicate the faults they see in that logic. It works the other way too. I'm sad that I don't remember their name, but one of the people that appeared on with Paula G on his channel was somebody that is the opposite story. They used to be dyed-in-the-wool atheist, and now they are a Christian, and they talk about and debate why they believe what they do. And I find their arguments very persuasive. So going into a different realm, a different category, not talking about the supernatural at all, or the miraculous, going to the very mundane, the same principle holds. Find somebody who is a former member of a group who is now debating against that group's ideas, and you will find the best arguments worthy of repeating what she just said.
He's not any different than his friend.
Before that.
Biden is right on with everything he's saying. Trump is a dangerous, and I mean dangerous, narcissist. He's a cult leader. He needs to be put in prison. He's not any different than his friend.
Trump is dangerous. He's a narcissist. He deserves to be in prison. Hit those points. Hit those points when you're talking to Republicans. Remind them of that. Keep repeating those phrases. That, in the mind of somebody that used to follow Trump, that is what's important to know about him. If she is trying to talk to herself from 3 years ago. Trump is dangerous. He's a narcissist. He only cares about himself. He belongs in prison. Trump is dangerous. Trump only cares about himself. He's a narcissist. He belongs in prison. Prison is the place he should be. Worth repeating. She also says he's no different than Epstein, his friend. Jeffrey Epstein was his friend, and Trump, it appears, is no different than him. Worth repeating.
What was that guy that just got? They're saying that he was.
Also, she, the lady up there, that grandmother, was there in the riot. Said it was violent. Got her head stepped on by other supporters of Trump. You know, those type of people. Saved by the Capitol Police.
Trump is disgusting.
Some of whom died on that day. She participated in their death. She was saved by them. But it's worth noting. She's regretful. I'm not saying you should dislike her for that. I'm just saying that's a weight that she will carry for the rest of her days. The people that saved her, she helped kill. That's the seriousness of the situation that we're talking about. It should be known.
In their appeal to the Supreme Court, I'm sure you know, Trump is facing being taken off the ballot over his role in January 6th. Trump's lawyers are alleging that January 6th was, in their words, not an insurrection, and that even if it was, President Trump did not engage in it. What do you make of that argument?
Oh, there's no argument. You know, I have a lot of faith in Jack Smith coming with some receipts to prove that Trump was involved. He asked us all to go down there to that Capitol. Why? You know, he already had his speech. Why did he want us to go down there? I'll tell you why. Because he had a plan, along with a lot of other people. And why haven't...
I'm going to let her talk uninterrupted. I just want to say this now, because the thought has arrived now. I know what you can do about this. You can show this clip to more people. Wireless Mike, thank you for showing it to me. I will properly credit it in the description. So you can copy it and share it. Put it on social media. Put it anywhere you think it is possible that somebody might see it. But this is a very persuasive clip, particularly if you're the sort of person who has chosen to live in ignorance, but isn't really passionate about getting those Jews or whatever thing that gets people to passionately support Trump. If you're just someone that's like, well, I believe in small government, not many left, but worth pointing that out. This is what you're supporting. This freaking maniac. And oh, hey, by the way, any one of you MAGA supporters would be the grandma here, with your head stamped on by your compatriots.
They made Mike Flynn and Steve Bannon responsible. Come forward with, talk to them. They know what happens. But no, I can't say enough that I really believe that Trump was involved. Trump knew exactly what was happening that day. And he set us down there. It was a trap, and he didn't. And the lie that Nancy Pelosi was responsible for not having the National Guard, well, I debunked that one. That's not true. Trump didn't call the National Guard or whoever had that authority. It wasn't Nancy Pelosi. They do nothing but lie about everything.
So your life now is dramatically different than it was 3 years ago. So what's going through your mind ahead of this 3-year anniversary of the Capitol attack?
Right now, under the administration of Biden, it's getting better. However, the narrative with the J6 is getting worse. And what's happening with Trump's rhetoric out there, the lone wolves is what I'm worried about, that are going out there and becoming dangerous. When you threaten
the lone wolf, what? She's not a reporter. She's not. She's a witness. It's not on her to get this wording right. But this is for me and you. The lone wolf, what? Terrorists. She's right to be concerned. I find it enlightening that she mentions that specifically. The lone wolf terrorists are what I'm concerned about. Yeah, that's probably a good concern. Yeah, people like Ethan Schmidt Crockett. They have a bad enough day. They decide they're going to suicide by cop. We know what they'll do on the way there. We know how they'll get the attention of the police. Republicans are not to be trusted. Anybody that does trust them, anybody that's choosing to pretend to live in this fiction that they've created, definitely should be a concern. Definitely at risk of becoming a terrorist. And that's definitely Trump's plan. He wants them to be. And he knows that as long as we don't take him seriously, as long as we let Republicans exist in our legislature at all, if we allow Republicans to be a force after they've tried their best to get us killed, then they will eventually succeed. That will be the way things are done. She's right to be concerned.
A judge or the Secretary of State and want to do a SWAT on somebody, it's really scary because the narrative is getting worse and worse that the election was not stolen. They will not let go of that one. And we know that's a lie. And Trump knew the election had been stolen and he had us come there anyway. I mean, I'm so tired of the narrative that they're putting out there. And that's why I speak out, because I have all the receipts. I was there. I know what happened that day. And I hold Trump totally responsible.
So today, former Capitol Police Officer Harry Dunn, he was a key figure on January 6th, defending the Capitol. He announced that he's running for Congress. If you had the opportunity to speak with Officer Dunn, what would you say to him?
Oh, well, I would hug him and tell him I'm so sorry for what happened to him that day.
Remember the weight she's carrying. I don't envy her that. I want to add something. I believe that in addition to whatever prison time they're given. January 6 convicts should be required to watch the entirety of the January 6th committee hearings. They should be forced to confront reality. That needs to be a requirement of their release. Can't leave prison until we can acknowledge that you have looked at the facts. Because we get the occasional return to sanity, as seen here. We also get a lot of Jacob Chansleys who go on pretending to live in their silly little worlds.
You know, I did myself try to help the officers that day. It was the worst part that I experienced when I saw them being pepper sprayed. Now, I'm not on the violent side where it's shown all over the news. I'm on the other side of the Capitol, but they were being pepper sprayed there too. And the captain told me just to stay in one area because they couldn't allow me to help them. But I would say thank you for running for office. He has a lot of integrity. He's going to do good for this country. And I would like to hug him and just tell him thank you. You are the hero for January 6th.
Good lady. Great suggestion. Thank you, Mike, and happy birthday. That folks, if you're watching the VOD, it's Wireless Mike's birthday. Tell him happy birthday. But that was a fantastic suggestion. Show that clip to as many people as you can. Mike, I think you've just done your part. Everybody else, share it around. It's a useful clip. It's a persuasive clip. I do think, in addition, we should probably start insisting that the January 6 hearings be a requirement of the release of these folks. But regardless, just seeing that one remorseful J6 insurrectionist admit that Trump is a liar, admit that he is selfish, and admit that he is still currently perpetuating the same lie, that he will not face the truth, and that he will try his best to convince others not to face the truth. That's persuasive. It's a useful thing. So I recommend just sharing that one clip on any social media you have. And when people ask you, why don't you believe Trump on something, have it ready to go. Here's why. Because she doesn't. Great suggestion, Mike. I highly appreciate it. Another Mike says, wrong thing gets you the gulag. The gulag, I personally enjoy, what do you call it? Sending people to the gulag for almost no reason at all. Geek Guy 10, for example, just toss him in the gulag, yeah. Bella Lugrisi, the lady learned. Yes. Yeah, I'm proud of her. The anti-corporatist. Hey, Geek Guy 10, how's the weather there in St. Petersburg this fine evening? Yeah, agreed. You know, that's something else I wanted to talk about with you guys. Guess what season it is? As a result of it also being election season. Take a whack. That's right, it's Web Brigade season. If you find that lefties suddenly have a massive wedge issue, you can rest assured that about 6 months later, we're going to find out that an order was given by the Ruskies, to the Web Brigade, to make that wedge issue wedged as deeply as it can. We know this happened in 2015/2016. We know it happened in 2019/2020, and we are fairly confident it's happening now. The cheapest and, strangely enough, most effective way to destabilize an enemy country is with the Web Brigade. So, what do? First of all, what is it? It's literally just a group of state actors. They're not all necessarily even Russians. They're just people who are paid by Russia. I think the Ministry of Defense, but nonetheless, paid by Russia to start shit. To post just the right things in just the right places. There's a ton of evidence that the popularity of Bernie Sanders only came about because of the Russian Web Brigade trying to divide up Hillary and Bernie voters. Or rather, just trying to divide up Hillary voters. I'm not angry about that. For the record, delighted that Bernie Sanders was brought to the fore. But nonetheless, that is a thing that happens. Why? Why would Putin not want there to be a lot of Biden support, for example? Because Biden is opposing Putin in Ukraine. It's to win the war. It's that simple. By the way, I'm not a strong Biden supporter, although I'd say it's a near certainty that I will vote for him if he's on the ticket on voting night for the presidency. But it's worth noting that we have to now be on guard for the Ruskies. If you see somebody trying to start shit, act exactly as I've seen you act tonight. Reasonably, but firmly. If you see bots, for example, if you see random attacks that don't have much to do with the video posted by an account that when you click on it is only a couple of months old and has a bunch of numbers in the name, or it's like Bill 574213798765432, that thing. If it's like that, that's probably a bot and you should definitely report it. And if it's not a bot, they can inform YouTube, hey, I'm a real person, let me prove it. But our goal is to exhaust the Web Brigade, because the Web Brigade is going to be a group of about 50 to as many as 500, let's say, people who are each making a couple of thousand accounts each on various platforms and posting things and responding to other people's posts with the hope of creating disunity in the United States. It is a genuine threat. It is a silly threat, but a genuine one. And the only way to fight it, funny enough, is by doing what we do currently, but more actively. So when you are consuming online content, because you are somebody who consumes at least partially your content online, be on the lookout for the Web Brigade. The genuine concern, and I hope we nip this one in the bud. The anti-corporatists, Russia or China or Korea, honestly, you're kind of an idiot if you're a foreign country not spending misinformation dollars here in the States. It's true. Has a return on investment right up there with buying politicians. Oh yeah, it's wild. The anti-corporatist, maybe he'll come back in time for the prayer circle. If not, we can pray for his salvation anyways. Jesus loves you, Mike with many E's. Yeah. Oh, Tinkerbell, I wonder where they came from. Yeah, I don't know. I assume they were wrapping up on Adam for Adam, and the post-nut clarity set in and made them feel shame. See, I did eventually make the easy sex jokes that I could have earlier. All right, that's probably good. Fellas, if you're still listening, I just want you to know we will not think less of you for having same-sex attraction. It's fine. It's literally only a big deal in your community. For everybody else, this has been WYCD Wicked. That stands for What You Can Do. I'll see you next time. And my name's Jake.